Imagine this. You're a young, beautiful woman in the 1870s who fall in love with a handsome lawyer. He promises you a life you can't even imagine, but somewhere between you and him lies a dark, disturbing future in which you cannot escape. Blanche Monnier was part of a very wealthy, high-status family living in France, Paris. The family had a very good social life and regularly went out for gatherings and games. Blanche was used to the eyeballs turning and the whispers over their shoulder, but this didn't deter, but rather make her feel notable. She knows that the stares don't mean anything but what the men already say about her. You really are one of a kind, you're so beautiful. Her mother, Madame Monnier, had big ambitions for her daughter, and would never let a poor, lowlife marry her. When the men would approach her, Madame would step in and question them as to what their profession was and who their elders are. Never to let a man not worthy come too close to her, but Blanche did not care for their fortune. All she wanted was a kind-hearted man who respected her and could give her a loving family. Ever so often, Blanche would wander off to the market by herself, without her mother's supervision, and speak to the men who had the guts to defy Madame. And so she met a man who had no money, no status, and no approval from Madame. And so this handsome lawyer made his way to Blanche, and with only his words made her fall in love so hard she had no idea what happened. The man and Blanche would make plans to run away to live a life without her family and their ignorant opinions. But the love story did not go as they had planned. Her mother was getting suspicious about her now regular walks, and coming back with a smile and rose-red cheeks as if she had been playing in the hay. And so her mother felt she had no other choice. Just as Blanche made her way to the door to meet her lover, Madame asked her daughter to help her carry something to the attic. Of course, she answered and started walking up the stairs, hands full of books no one ever reads anymore. As they approached the top floor, her mother unlocked the attic door with a key from her pocket and opened it. And as Blanche leaned down to put the books down in the small, dark room, Madame looped a chain around her ankle and locked it tight. "I won't let you embarrass this family," she said and walked away, locking the door behind her. May 1901, 25 years later. Blanche woke up as she always does, covered in her own feces. Her body is so pale and thin, she wouldn't be able to walk out of here even if the door was wide open. Her mother enters the room carrying a plate and a piece of cloth covering her nose and mouth, not to breathe in the horrendous air. Blanche barely even remembers the man she loved. She has forgotten the sound of the river and the smell of the market down the street. All she knows is in this room, she is dying and has been the last decade. But her mother doesn't care. She knows that Blanche don't have feelings for that man anymore, but she might as well fall for another. And this is much easier than keeping an eye on her all the time. This way, I always know where she is. But now you're wondering why no one asked about her.
Open your eyes.
And how Madame could keep this big a secret for such a long time. And what happened to Blanche in the end.
Are we dreaming?
Well, first of all, people did ask, especially her lover. But no one could find her, and no one suspected her own mother as the imposter. And what else could they do? And what happened to Blanche? An anonymous letter was written and sent to the police telling them about an imprisoned woman starving in the attic of the Monnier family's attic. And so the police, knowing about the lost girl, went to investigate and found her, alive, but barely. Personally, I think it must have been one of the maids in the house who started to suspect that 25 years of screams and plates coming from the attic must have been coming from that woman.